Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the August edition of the Community Engagement Series from the Housing Department of the City of San Jose. Thank you all for joining us. Um, this month, the topic that we're going to be discussing is the City of San Jose's application to the state's pro-housing program and what that pro-housing designation could mean for the City of San Jose and for housing developments in the City of San Jose. And our newest deputy director, Sarah Fields, will be walking you through a brief presentation, and then we're going to be opening up the discussion for questions from the audience as we do each month. Um, and I just want to give you a quick housekeeping tip on that for, excuse me, questions that you have. When Sarah's done with her presentation, we're going to use the chat function. So please send your questions to me. That's Jeffrey Scott in the using the chat function, and then I will share all of those questions as I get them with Sarah and some of our other co-hosts who are on the line, and we will be answering those questions as they come in the order in which they come in. So again, please send them to me, Jeffrey Scott, through the chat function, and I'll be sure to get all of your questions read. And then the only other thing I want to mention quickly before I turn this over to Sarah is that as we do with all of our community engagement series meetings, we will be posting a recording of the meeting on our website, and we will also be posting the presentation that Sarah is going to be walking through on the website, and we will also have a transcript of the meeting on the website. So anyone who wants to go back and see, or anyone who misses this meeting, who you know of who wants to see the meeting at a later date, will all have the opportunity to do so. And I think with that, I am going to turn the conversation over to Sarah, our newest deputy director.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jeff. And thank you to everyone joining us this afternoon. Again, my name is Sarah Fields. I joined the housing department here with the City of San Jose about a month and a half ago, towards the end of June. And it is my pleasure to serve as the deputy director overseeing policy, communications, and administrative services. We have a brief presentation this afternoon to go over the Pro-Housing Designation program application. And when we get to the end of the presentation, we'll be able to answer some questions. Jeff, if you could put up the slides, we can get started.
Okay, just give me a second to share my screen.
Now seems like a good time since we've had several people join. If you have questions that you would like to ask around the pro-housing application, the pro-housing designation program, any questions that you may have, you can chat them to Jeffrey Scott, to Jeff Scott, our public information officer here in the housing department. And we will answer them when we conclude with the slides. Jeff, can we put this in presentation mode? Presentation view. Excellent. So while that's loading, I will tell all of you, my name is Sarah Fields. I'll be giving the presentation this afternoon, and I'm joined by my colleague in the housing department, Sean Danino, who serves as the senior development officer and shepherd us through the application process for the pro-housing designation. I'm also joined today, well, that's not quite the right view. Let's try again. Sorry, bear with us for one moment. Sorry, Jeff, can you get us into like the full screen presentation mode? I think you're looking at the presenter screen. Thank you for everyone for your patience. Apologies for the delay. For those of you just joining us, this is the monthly community engagement series on the Pro-Housing Designation Program application. I am Sarah Fields, Deputy Director for the Housing Department, joined today by Sean Danino and Jared Ferguson. Jared is, of course, a principal planner with our Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement Department, and Sean works with me here in the Housing Department. I see someone has a hand raised. We will be taking questions at the end of the presentation. If you have a question, please chat it to my colleague Jeffrey Scott, to answer. He will be fielding questions and combining questions should we get similar questions from the audience. Very good. Okay, so excellent. No, we can go to the next slide. What is the Pro-Housing Designation Program? So this program was created by our state legislature through the 2019-2020 Budget Act. The designation and a related incentive program seek to increase housing opportunities throughout California and address the state of California's housing crisis. The program enables the Department of the State Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD, to designate certain jurisdictions, cities, and counties throughout the state as pro-housing when they demonstrate policies and planning that accelerate the production of housing. Most of the designation's focus is on programs that cities and counties have already put into place or are in process of implementing. So the bulk of what's in this application is nothing, there's nothing new that's being proposed. It's a sort of greatest hits and highlights of programs that already exist and that we are in process of implementing. 65 other cities and counties in California have received the pro-housing designation as of the beginning of this summer. And the city of San Jose wishes to obtain this designation to acknowledge the city's role in driving towards housing abundance. And the designation is important as it drives towards additional resources, grants, other programs that we are invited to participate in through this designation. And this was a cross-department effort by Housing, Planning, and Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. It's important history to know that the City Council gave direction to apply to this program, and there was a council resolution already previously approved authorizing our application. Next slide, please. So as I alluded to, there are several benefits to receiving the designation, including both for housing and transportation projects across San Jose, and the availability of state funding for those programs. So we see these programs enumerated here. For the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities program, we predict or we anticipate receiving points for the designation. Let me back up for a second. The application is judged on a point system, and we believe our application is competitive through these programs. So for the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities program, we anticipate 2 points. For the Infill Infrastructure Grant Program, we anticipate 5 points. And for the Transit and Intercity Rail Program, there's a range of points that have potential for the designation. And we will highlight that within the application. The awards, the potential funding awards, would support both public projects as well as privately owned projects, projects owned in public and private spaces, including affordable housing developments and bikeway improvements. The designation also enables us to apply for a complementary program called the Pro-Housing Incentive Program, which is another state grant funding opportunity. This is a program that accelerates and creates more opportunity for affordable housing production and preservation. In the most recent third round of the Pro-Housing Incentive Program, $8 million was made available to jurisdictions that already had this designation. I'll also note here the designation, the pro-housing designation, is active for a 3-year time period, and then a reapplication would need to be submitted after that 3 years. Next slide, please. So a bit about our application. Actually, can you go back one slide? Excellent, thank you. So there are 4 categories of programs in which the city can earn points. Here they are listed here: favorable zoning and land use, accelerating production timeframes, reducing construction and development costs, and finally providing financial subsidies. To earn the designation, the jurisdiction must score for its programs across these 4 categories. There are 48 possible programs under which we could earn points, and San Jose is requesting points for 42 of those programs. Each program can earn basic points in the category column. You can see that here, as well as enhancement points in the column just to the right. And then we showed the total anticipated points for these programs. So if we can show the city's programs also meet other state planning priorities, such as reduction of greenhouse gases, we can receive those enhancement points. So additional programs in consideration receive those enhancement points. The city staff estimates that the city's application may score a total of as much as 125 points, including points from such enhancement factors. To obtain the designation, a jurisdiction must earn 30 points, so we do anticipate a successful application, even if the 125 ends up being a slight overestimate. To receive the pro-housing designation, jurisdictions must also meet basic threshold requirements, such as being in compliance with the state under the housing element law and other applicable state housing laws. Next slide, please. So here is some examples from our application. The point total is up to, as it depends on whether we earn the enhancement factor points or not. Again, as I mentioned earlier, these are existing programs that we are highlighting in our application. Of the 42 programs that we cited in our application, we are only proposing 5 new programs. 37 are already in place. And those 5 proposed programs are already defined in the San Jose Certified Housing 2023-2031 housing element, an approved housing element, of course, as work that the city has already committed to doing. So 37 programs already active and 5 programs that will be implemented in the near future. Just for context, the application is not designed to create new ideas for future work. Rather, it's meant to be a reflection of work that's already in action or in process. So here you see a variety of meaningful work that's already been implemented or will soon be implemented. We'll be talking about the timeline in the next slide. Okay, so this is really a roadmap to the next steps. The draft application was published on our website on the 18th of July and will remain active through the 17th of August. If you go to sjhousing.org and then click on the resource library, you will find our pro-housing designation application there. There are 2 ways to offer comment on our pro-housing designation application. One is by emailing the email address listed here. That's hsg-policy@sanjoseca.gov, or by making a comment here today. Again, you can message Jeffrey Scott, our Public Information Officer, here on this Zoom, chat him and make your comments or ask questions. After the review, if there are substantial changes made, there will be an additional 1 week or 7-day review period to extend that 30-day period. We anticipate submitting the application to the state by the middle of next month, by the middle of September of this year. The state replies 60 days after submittal, but may request additional information or points to clarify. And a determination will likely be by the end of the calendar year. However, the state has a flexible schedule on determination and when they make determinations publicly available. So now we will take some questions. We can go to the next slide. Jeff, what are the people saying?
Okay, all righty. Let me bring up the chat here. All righty. Okay, question. Sarah, you referenced 42 programs, 37 of which are already enacted. Do you know or can you describe the other 5?
Okay, so the 5 programs that are not currently active but will soon be implemented are 5 programs that we're committed to in our housing element. I will ask my colleague Sean Danino to enumerate those programs, and if he cannot, we will be sure to email them to you, but I imagine that he can.
Sure, sounds good. Thanks, Sarah. Hey, everyone. Sean Danino, Senior Development Officer. So the 5 programs, the first one is to satisfy Category 1B. It's to implement our small multifamily housing program, which, if you have additional questions, we're lucky to have Jared Ferguson, who's a principal planner and planning, building, and code enforcement. The second one is an expanded density bonus program that we forecast will be completed by September 2027. And just for reference, we have typically about 2 years to implement the programs that we outline as proposed policies. The third program is working on SB9 type projects on sites that are in the city's historic resource inventory. That's expected to be completed by December 2026. And Jared can also speak more to that if needed. The fourth program is revising language that's subjective in some of our permit findings with the objective design and development standards. And that's expected to be done by the end of this year, December 2025. And finally, the last one is adding a housing navigator role to the planning, building, and code enforcement team. That's a hire I believe we expect to have completed by the end of this year too. Jared, is there anything you want to add there?
Great summary.
Okay, there is one follow-up question for either, I guess, Sarah or Sean, and that is these 5 additional programs that you just described. Do those 5 have to be implemented in order for the city to get for its application to be approved for this designation, or could the city get the designation even without the adoption of those 5 programs?
So I just want to be clear, those 5 programs are included in the housing element that we've already submitted to the state. So that means those 5 activities are things that we've already committed to. So we're just reiterating something that we've already communicated to the state. Given that you only need 30 points to pass or to earn the designation, we probably could get it without those activities. However, since we've already made the commitment to these, it's only logical to include them in the pro housing application, since it's communicating with the same source, and we intend to do all of these things. Anything to add, Jared or Sean? You both nodded in a way that makes me think no, but okay, great, thank you.
All right, next question. I think you said at the outset that our application is up on the website and people can view it. And there's a comment period that's currently open. What is the deadline for that comment period?
Great question. So it is, we can actually put the slide back up that shows the timeline. I believe it is the 17th of August. So it'll be posted live until, here we go. So it's been live on the website since July the 18th. August 17th is the close of that comment period. However, if there are significant questions or comments that lead to a substantial change, which again I want to say it seems unlikely, although it's possible. But if that is to happen, there would be a reposting for 1 week. So at the conclusion of August 17th, if there's a determination to make any kind of substantial changes, I'm not saying, more than move a period or change this language, change, a word here or there, but, really something meaningfully different, we would then repost for a week. The reason why I say it seems unlikely is that, as I had said in the beginning, this is really an accounting of existing programs, or those 5 programs that we were just asked about are programs we have committed to implementing. As a result, it's unlikely that there will be substantial changes because these are all activities and commitments that have been made in the housing element or previously made through council action. So it seems unlikely. This is nothing is brand new that's being proposed within this application. But nonetheless, if on the off chance substantial changes are made, there will be an additional week-long period for comment. If that is to happen, anyone who's made a comment already will notify. That's a commitment that we can make. And we'll also be sure to notify this list should that change, should that week extension, on the off chance that week extension does take place. But in all likelihood, August 17th is the close of the comment period. And like I said, please comments and questions to Jeff or to that email that was listed in the presentation. And Sean, if you could also list that email address in the chat for folks if you have any questions or comments about the application that you would like to submit through the email, that's also greatly appreciated. More questions, Jeff?
Yes. All right. So this person says that they understand the importance of this designation and receiving this designation, but they also understand that the city is behind in meeting its RENA goals, and has been for some time. And I guess their question is simply, what are your thoughts on that? So it's kind of an open-ended question. I don't know if the questioner meant that there is an either or, that pursuing this designation may slow down our pursuit of reaching our RENA goals. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they just say, what are your thoughts on that? The fact that we are behind on the RENA goals at the same time we're trying to pursue this designation.
Sure. Well, the RENA cycle is through 2031. So, we're still well within that time period. And there are significant factors that the city cannot control for that have slowed down housing production. We are deeply committed, the housing department and all of our other partners are deeply committed to production where we can be good stewards of public funds, particularly around affordable housing production and preservation. That being said, the cost of goods construction supplies have gone up, the costs of labor have gone up, and we still have the challenge of limited land availability across San Jose. I imagine that Jared may have some additional thoughts around land use and zoning around moving towards our RENA goals, but I will just say, we remain committed to everything that is in our housing element, including the RENA goals, but there's only so much that the city has control over, and what we do have control over, we intend to maximize the benefit to the people of San Jose. Jared, anything else?
Yeah, no, I think that was great. I just to reiterate too. Yeah, I mean, as you're saying, there are a lot of constraints that are external to the city, market factors outside of our control that are making it very challenging to deliver new housing units, even market rate units. I think what we have both in our housing element and in this application are trying to do as much as we can within our city control to try to move the needle. In particular, looking at what we're calling our small multifamily program. So looking at opportunities to increase production in other areas of the city through hopefully or potentially cheaper methods of construction, fourplexes, triplexes, et cetera. So trying to be creative through that. So really exploring all options and, utilizing those levers that we do have. One thing just to mention, I know a citywide program as well that I think we mentioned in the application that we've already implemented through the housing department, our multifamily housing incentive program, looking at how we can, temporarily lower fees to try to move the needle to move towards construction, and we have seen some movement on that, not to where we would like to be, but where it has, moved some projects forward or have them be able to move forward. So, the city, we're trying to take an all of the above approach, right, to try to move the needle. But I think we hear your concerns and are trying to respond, and try to be pro housing, right? And so, yeah.
Yeah, and if it's all right, if I can quickly chime in on this one too.
Please.
The Pro Housing Designation program, if we are certified, which we're hoping and planning to be, will give us additional points on a lot of important funding applications that finance the construction of affordable housing. So a lot of the factors that Sarah was referring to that are out of our control have to do with the interest rate environments and how it's much more difficult to make certain types of housing financially feasible. This certification will measurably help the city be competitive for different affordable housing programs and also programs to support market rate housing.
Excellent.
All
All right,
right.
Jeff, let's have more questions.
Yeah, we're almost to the end, but someone asked whether they could receive the today's presentation or a recording of the meeting directly, and I just put my email address in the chat. So we are going to post this on our website. Like I said, the recording of the meeting, a transcript of the meeting, and a copy of the presentation that Sarah went through. So all that will be on our website. But if someone would like me to email them any of those materials, they can send an email to me directly. I just put that jeff.scott@sanjoseca.gov. So again, feel free, any of you, to email me directly. I'm also here just momentarily. I'm about to put the website address. It's a pretty long website address. You might want to copy and paste it to where we're going to post this on our website. So I'm gonna put that there. So if you click on that and it opens up in a browser, you can save that, and that's where all of our community engagement meetings materials are posted on our website. All right. I'm looking through. I don't see any other questions. I'm just going through again.
Jeff, can you put up the last slide that lists all our contact information?
Yes. Give me a second. I'll share again.
Thank you for playing questionnaire and producer and talk show host and all the things. Really, thank you, Jeff, for managing.
Sure.
So that
Was it?
just the last slide.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you very much. So, I just want to make sure if anyone has additional questions or wants to reach out, about this or any other related matter, for sort of more general questions around housing policy, you can use the housing policy, the HSG-policy email address. And if you have more specific questions for Sean or myself, you can see our email addresses there, or for Jared in the planning department. Really, we take our role as public servants very seriously, and if there's anything we can do to help you as a member of the community, please don't hesitate to reach out. And even if we're not quite the right department or the right person to make it work, we will assist you in finding the right person to assist you. So with that, I will say, Jeff, do we have any additional questions?
Let me just take one more quick look.
All right, this is the last call for questions or comments. And please, if you think of something, I often think of something after a meeting concludes. So if you think of something after the meeting concludes, please do not hesitate to reach out to that general email address for comments or questions about the application. And if you have questions for staff around the work that we're doing, please don't hesitate to reach out. And it seems that we are ready to say thank you very much. And everyone enjoy your afternoon. And we look forward to seeing you all again, hopefully next month for the next community engagement series, and also to hopefully welcome in the designation as a pro-housing city. Take
Great.
care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.